Hi everyone, it's Eru here. So I'm going to go into this video topic of how to compromise in marriage. Someone sent that as a potential topic to be featured in May, and I'm just getting around to it now. So if that's you, I do apologize. Compromise. I think we need to start with a definition first. What is compromise? And I'm looking at a dictionary definition, and it says it's an agreement or settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. It also says that the expedient acceptance of standards that are lower than is desirable. And then it gave an example: sexism should be tackled without compromise. So in your marriage, for example, because this was a question for marriages, how do you compromise in marriage? Now, first and foremost, you need to sort out what are your standards. I'm assuming I'm speaking to believers because that's the only way I know marriage was ordained by God. So if anyone is marrying, it should be in accordance to God's holy laws, according to his guidelines. Now, what does God say about whatever issue it is? Is it something that is a gray area in the sense that it's not specifically tackled in the Bible? Then what are your standards? You need to ask these questions. Do you feel that in these concessions that you are making, that you have lowered your standards? If you have lowered your standards, either husband or wife, then it's not good compromise. Don't lower your standards. So these are things you need to consider when you're compromising. I asked my husband this question, as I said in an intro video that I sent out much earlier, inviting comments, and I've not got any comments now because I don't know, people were possibly stumped. But he was saying it's a wide topic, just as I thought. And he said we really do need to start with a definition, which I already thought would be a good place to start. And as I said, you need to look at what you two believe in, what are your core values when you're compromising. As long as you're not bypassing or ignoring your core values, I suppose you can compromise in anything really within reason in your marriage, as a husband, as a wife. As I said, provided your core values and your standards are not lowered. We've already seen the dictionary definition where your where it says you accept standards that are lower than is desirable. Obviously, that's not a good compromise. We know that's happening in marriages. If that's happening in yours, that's not a good compromise to make. That's not how you should marry, whether you're a husband or wife, where you are constantly or consistently compromising, lowering your standards. No, that's not good. You're being taken advantage of. You need to put a stop to that. By refusing to allow yourself to be treated in any way that lowers your standard, period. With compromise, it's something that you sit down and discuss. Say, for example, you're a family that has one car, and you need, one of you feels you need two cars in the household. Now that's something you can sit down together and compromise over. I understand writing a list, whether you write it or you list out your points clearly and objectively, that can help. That's one way to go about it. Another way to go about something like this is to try it the way your husband wants to do it. Say he's the one who says no, one car is enough, for the reason being we can't afford the petrol or MOT or whatever reason. So you try it the way he has suggested, and because he's the one who has gone against the idea of a two car, say the wife wants a two car, then maybe he's the one who is willing, or he should offer himself as willing to be the one to take public transport while the wife takes the car, seeing he was the one against the idea in the first place. But that's something that you need to sit down and discuss. Maybe in his line of work, he really does need the car, or your line of work, you really need the car, or there are situations where one of you would need the car more than the other person. These are things you need to iron out, and hopefully you're married to someone who is considerate and compassionate and thinks of you, as the Bible says we should treat each other in a way. The specific term is think do not think of yourself more highly than you ought to think, but that's not the one I'm trying to get at. But treat each other as you would want to be treated yourself. So you love your wife as you love yourself. So say your wife needs the car because she needs to go shopping and she's got all these groceries, and you say no because you want to go jump in the car and go visit your friend Jack or Bob or whoever he is, then that you've not compromised, you've not considered your wife, you've not treated her in a way you would like to be treated. Say we're the other way around, you have all these groceries that would be rolling all over the ground outside because the bag snaps because you're without the car, because your wife took the car to go visit Jackie or Francisca or whoever it is she went to visit, and you don't have the car. Would you like it? So when we're talking about compromise in marriage, you need to treat the other person the way you would want to be treated. You want to consider how you would feel if you were in that situation, and you want to look at things that are not considered lowering your standards, as provided you're not lowering your standards, as in the car scenario that I've presented, then it's something that generally, as adults and people who love each other and are considerate of each other, you should be able to work out generally. Where you can't reach a compromise, then as believers, you should always take these things to God in prayer to begin with. And sometimes you may have to be praying and praying for a while and asking for God for grace and wisdom. And He's always faithful. He answers prayers that in accordance to His will. You'll find He's giving you grace, He's giving you wisdom to deal with the situation. And where it's just ongoing, maybe you have to take steps. Then again, God will lead you through your prayer on how to go. Maybe you need to seek counseling somewhere from your pastor or whoever it is you need to seek counseling from. You might need to go that route. You might need to take some practical steps the Lord is leading you to take to help resolve any conflicts that may arise because one person is not willing to compromise. But generally, in marriage, couples are meant to compromise by nature because we have come together in holy union, holy matrimony, and we've come together to submit to one another in love. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 5, you read from verse 1, it says submit to one another in love. So if you're that husband that says, oh, you wife, you should submit to me, blah, da, da, da. If you go to Ephesians chapter 5, you will find that we are to submit to one another in love. That's where compromise comes in. So we will sit, we'll discuss it, we'll iron out our points in a way that is clear, that is direct, that is considerate of the other person, in a way that is mature and non-confrontational, and hopefully whatever the issue is, you should be able to sort it out. There are issues, as I said, that will require a lot of prayer, like the wife wants one child and the husband wants about four. So then you need to really iron things out. You need to consider things like expenses. Children are expensive. Over the years, you're going to be footing up bills and costs and so forth. If you're going to want four children, are you prepared to work for it? You can't put the burden on your wife who already wanted one to say you need to work, you need to bring in more money, you need to do this, you need to do that. You can't do that, for example, because it was your desire in the first place. So these are things you need to consider and iron out, and think of the other person. The person who wants something basically is not the one to be making demands on the other person that will inconvenience the other. So I hope this has helped. I'm going to post a link to this video on my website, and I welcome your comments, I welcome your engagement, your interactions. Somebody might have some points that I've not covered here that will be able to help us all learn from how to compromise in marriage. And the one who sent me this topic, I hope this has helped you. If it hasn't, you know you can reach me again, so just feel free. Take care and God bless. Bye.